More on this, Nicola Hill joins me now from London. Nicola, where do things stand with finding a vaccine? And we've been told repeatedly that a vaccine is anywhere from 12 to 18 months off, but now we're learning a vaccine might be available in just a few months.
Well, this is certainly what we're hoping. Apparently, there's more than 100 vaccine candidates being tested around the world, but most of those are still in preclinical trials, i.e. still in the test tubes. Those actually in animals and then in humans, very, very limited. Now, you've just explained about what's happening with Moderna. They're actually extending their trials now in older people. But we're hoping that next week, here in the UK, a very well-respected team of vaccine experts who've worked on MERS, Zika and Ebola are going to start their human trials. This is led by Professor Adrian Hill and Dr. Sarah Gilbert at the Jenner Institute, part of Oxford University. They've recruited 510 people aged between 18 and 55, and I've heard anecdotally they were inundated with the number of people willing to be volunteers. This is the phase 1 trial looking at safety. If that succeeds, it will very quickly be expanded to people up to the age of 70, and then after that, over 70, because of course it's important to find a vaccine that works in an older population as they're more at risk of COVID-19. And then Dr. Gilbert's team are hoping that by autumn they can start their phase 3 trials. They can be giving it to 5,000 people. And one of the things that's effective in this particular trial is that half of them are going to get the potential vaccine, half are going to have a control vaccine. So they will be following them through afterwards. Now, everybody's saying, as you've just said, hopefully a vaccine for all of us is 12 to 18 months. What Dr. Gilbert's group are hoping is that they can have theirs much quicker for people working on the front line for emergency use.
And Nicola, even if we get a vaccine that works, what are the challenges of getting it into mass production and making it available for the larger public?
Enormous challenges. I mean, we've got a population of 7 billion people. Now, I was told this morning that apparently if we have about 60% of the population vaccinated, if we find a vaccine that works, and if it's against a COVID-19 virus that doesn't necessarily mutate, then we might have herd immunity. But the main problem is manufacturing at scale. Now, Johnson & Johnson has said that they hope they can be able to manufacture nearly 1 billion doses of their potential vaccine if it works next year. We've got 2 enormous giant pharmaceutical companies normally competing against each other, saying they're going to work together. This is GSK and Sanofi, both very experienced in making vaccines worldwide and making a lot of the influenza vaccines. So they're combining their forces so that they can not only hopefully find an effective vaccine sooner, but can manufacture one. And then Bill Gates has actually said that he will fund factories making up to 7 different types of vaccine. There have also been calls for a global agency to oversee both the funding and the manufacturing of these vaccines. And then, of course, we've got the issue of how we're going to give it to people, particularly in the third world countries where already there's often problems in getting vaccines to them because of storing them in fridges and issues like that.
And Nicola, China has announced phase 2 of clinical trials. Where do things stand there, and how far off are they from having a vaccine available?
Well, they're saying that they might have a vaccine available within 6 months. I mean, as you were already reporting with President Macron saying about China perhaps not being sharing all the information about the numbers of people in Wuhan, there is perhaps at times a lack of trust. They do have a history of making vaccines against Japanese encephalitis. They're saying that they're in their phase 2. They did their trials in phase 1 of about 100 people, and they're now extending it to an older population, and they have no upper age limit at all in their phase 2 trial. And apparently state media has reported in China that they've given the vaccine to somebody over the age of 84. I think we'll all be following that very closely.
All right, Nicola Hill, thank you.